Over the past 3 years, the global community has come together with the mission to end plastic pollution. We're now entering the fifth and to be final negotiation in 2024. And we're looking at how the treaty is to develop new controls to address plastic production, use, and disposal throughout the life cycle of plastics.
Pero hoy queríamos un poco compartir cómo está esta situación de los plásticos.
So after nearly 3 years of negotiations, it's been very clear that the stakes are very high for this global agreement. The reason being is that plastics are really made out of fossil fuels, oil and gas. So oil and gas exporting countries have a very large stake, especially as the world transitions away from fossil fuels, from energy towards materials. So you're using that fossil fuels, oil and gas to produce plastics. And so you've got many countries, mainly in the Gulf states, for example, that are exporting fossil fuels who have a very large stake. And this has really slowed down the process.
For the warm welcome here in Nairobi. Let me also take this opportunity to thank
Ambassador Mr. Padra, whose strong and committed leadership has been
So the meeting that's coming up in Bangkok is known as an intersessional. This is to be a technical expert meeting, which is looking at 2 specific themes. They've had online calls before leading up to the discussion, where there in Bangkok, they will have a discussion around chemicals of concern, criteria for how to identify those chemicals of concern, and also look at recyclability. So that's the focus of one technical expert group. And the other technical expert group is to look at financing. Where could the funding come from to fund the development and implementation of a global agreement to end plastic pollution?
When you have planted. Environment has made all the tree seedlings for each one of you available in this compound.
So when the first suggestion of how you could participate or register for the meeting emerged, we saw an immediate problem because it became very exclusive, and they said as many governments can register as they wish, but there will be no NGO participants unless they were invited. So then we wrote a letter that which is posted online on the UN Environment Program's website for this meeting, and we wrote them asking them what model are they applying? What model are they applying from other UN negotiations? What justification do they have to break precedent to exclude observers? In my 20 years of doing negotiations, you may have technical expert group where you limit the number of experts you bring into the group, but you've never really removed observers or civil society or public interest groups. So these global treaty negotiations are really critical right now because in the end, you're looking at tripling production of plastics. And if we do not do a good job now to have a meaningful agreement, you're really kicking the can down the road for the next generation to deal with it, as we're seeing in climate change. That's not fair. And the problem is, again, more production means more pollution. And if we do not address the production, we're just going to flood the planet with plastics and really harm the future generations.